Hello, and welcome to another edition of Inventor's Quick Tips. In this episode, we will take a look at something all inventors need to think about, and that is making use of customer feedback to continue the innovation cycle. So let's start with an iconic innovator, Henry Ford. While he did not invent the automobile or the assembly line, he did have a vision of affordable cars for the masses, and he was very successful in that regard. His innovations were instrumental in getting the world to transition from horses to automobiles. But what did Henry Ford think of customer feedback? Henry Ford is often given credit for this quote, which basically implied that people didn't even know what was possible, so they would have never thought to even ask for a mass-produced car. Now, from my research, I'm not sure that Henry Ford actually said this, but it is documented that he held a general attitude that the customer didn't always know what they wanted, perhaps until they saw it. And while Ford had many innovations, eventually the innovation ran its course. This is a display in the Henry Ford Museum outside of Detroit, where even his own museum concedes that, due to stubbornness or having an opinion that customers didn't really have a good sense of what they wanted, Henry Ford had limited the scope of his innovation. So now let's talk about another innovation, this one in the field of music players. Roughly around the same time as the automobile was getting going, home music players like this were being shipped to homes across the United States. Essentially, a record player. You put a disc on this platter over here and put the needle on the disc. You wound the machine up like a watch, it was spring-loaded, and then it began to spin, and music came out of this horn. This device was completely mechanical initially, no electric components whatsoever, and it was a very successful product, basically the iPod of the 1900s. Leon Douglas, one of the officers of the Victor Talking Machine Company, later to become Victor and then RCA, decided to solicit some customer feedback. Unannounced, he visited some customers during the day. If someone answered, he asked if he could speak with them for a few minutes about the product. Questions like, what could be done better? What do you like and dislike about the product? And as it was, at this time during the day, most of the people at home were women. So he got a largely female perspective. Let's see what he learned. They didn't like the exposed horn. The horn they felt was unsightly. It collected dust. It was hard to keep clean. They asked, can this whole thing be concealed somehow? And there were some other issues too. One was volume control. As these devices were completely mechanical, the device had only one volume. And if that was too loud, the only thing you could really do was put a towel in the horn to mute the sound. Another problem was the mechanical noise from the point where the needle moved against the discs. That whirring and scratching noise could sometimes be heard over the music. And so, with a better understanding of some of the perceived shortcomings, Leon Douglas went to work. And here's what he came up with. A new model with a few notable improvements. A cover over the mechanical portion keeps the dust out. Now you just wipe down one flat surface instead of having to clean that horn. When the cover is down, it also helps conceal the mechanical noise we talked about earlier. It still had a horn, but the horn was internal to this cabinet, and these doors could be opened or closed as desired to provide a level of volume control. This model sold even better, and Victor continued to innovate, adding electric components, integrating radios, and other improvements, selling millions of players and records over time. So what can we learn from these two case studies? As we saw with Victor, customer feedback can drive innovation, help sell more units. By almost all accounts, it's worthwhile to obtain customer feedback. As Henry Ford saw it, sometimes the customers may not know what is possible, or may not have the vision to see that something that isn't feasible today could be feasible in the near future. A similar thing might be said for Elon Musk with Tesla. When Tesla started back in the mid-2000s, if asked, perhaps most customers would have said they wanted a car with better gas mileage and never indicated that they wanted an electric car. But Tesla started a successful American car company, and these cars are a common sight nowadays. Perhaps now more customers would say they wanted an electric car, and also perhaps particular innovations in electric cars like more range, faster charging, etc. So yes, as innovators, we need to seek customer feedback and also know when to listen to it and when not to. So I hope you found this video interesting. If so, please like, share, and subscribe, and thanks again for watching.